What's the leader?
What's the leader you got there, sir?
Okay, so. Oh shit, where's my field card? Pause.
Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
It's in here, my bad.
Doesn't even know what cards he plays.
I'm so glad you didn't see that against me.
See what? The hatch? Yeah! Have to specify the errata list information. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. He won't know. He won't even know.
Play the one you played against me.
There you go. That's how you explain it.
Come on, bud.
Come on, bud. Hop on.
Android
18 leader back from set 8. This is back when they were trying to do all that token stuff, token shenanigans.
Okay.
Sadly, I don't have my tokens on me, but there are 2 different cool token cards that they printed out. One's a 16, one's a 21. But anyways, so basically the gist of the leader is a very aggressive deck. Some people play this with the mill strategy, but I forgot where I put those cards, so I do not play with that strategy. Instead, I'm just going for like more thematic aggro. So the core of the deck is you have Android 21 scheme that prints out tokens on your opponent's side of the field. It also trolls them a little bit. So when they're So when they're trying to play battle cards, they can't attack with the first battle card they play. It works better against some decks than others, so if they're playing swap, they're just going to swap and ignore the skill anyways. But against most decks, it can be a little tricky, especially since they usually forget that skill, so I can just capitalize on that and say...
So you're playing tokens on their field?
You play about 2 tokens a turn, and there's other cards in the deck that can help, you know, maximize
What's the
those
benefits
tokens.
of that again?
So it does a few things. They can't combo with those tokens, but what it does is different cards in the deck trigger off me removing opponent's tokens. So they can't really comfortably use them aggressively because I could combo with a card I'll show later, Android 18, and just pop the token immediately. So it's more of a trolley deck. The SCR is hatch because blue decks play hatch, and hatch is broken. So
the ultimate glare.
Yeah, the ultimate glare card. Yeah,
so harsh.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you don't know what Baby Hatch does, then Google it. But basically, the deck draws a lot, so usually you end up seeing it. Sometimes you don't, and it's really sad. But you know, the deck is pretty defensive even without it. I got 2 of these Baby Golden Avengers. So you know, Baby just does a counter. It's just a card. Sometimes I'm able to play it out with the trunks, but what's nice about the card is, even as a 10k, sometimes that can be, you know, a little bit of a hindrance. In the case of 18, when you use her backside activate main, you ignore the, or you reduce the combo cost by 1 for all blue cards and green cards in your hand. So this isn't really a brick offensively. Defensively, it can be, but offensively, you can just be like, okay, swing +10/+10. So it's a good value card, and then honestly, with how long some games go, I will straight up tap 5 for a counter. That's just worth it. That's why Bad Ring's banned. I only have 3 trunks in the deck.
Is that a reason why, or just?
Honestly, I just never like playing 4 of them because sometimes I just end up seeing them a little bit too much. I could bump it up to 4, but I kind of want to have a little bit more offense, especially when you see how much defense there is in the deck. 4 doesn't really feel necessary. I am playing multiple unison, so you could justify playing it at 4, but I just like it at 3.
Nice.
For super combos, I do a 2-2 split.
2-2.
So I do 2 Zamasus. The reason I still play Zamasu, a lot of people don't, is because of that, because people usually don't expect it. Being able to tap their leader down, that's just too much value. You protect yourself from an attack, usually from a swing, from a draw.
Okay.
So, you know, it makes them think about it. Even if I just use my 1 during the game, they have to assume that I have another. So it usually makes them have to play around. And then
make
the
them
other,
worry.
Exactly, make them worry about it, and then they end up playing more into my strategy. And then Vegeta, this is just the best blue super combo in terms of just generic draw ones. I can bottom deck a card, which is super helpful with bottom decking the Krillins, which I'll talk about. But basically bottom deck, draw 2 cards. The leader, every turn, I can take 1 life and draw 1 card, so it will get down to 4 very easily. There's really no stopping me from getting down there. So yeah, you know, just best random blue, generic blue negate. For the unisons, I do a 2 unison split. I may end up changing out the ratios. I do 2 of the Super 13. The Super 13 is really nice for the deck because it's a +2 unison, so you're going to be able to get it up on markers really quickly, and then you can play it for free. You don't have to pay any energy. The way you play it for free is by taking out one of the clone tokens you're producing on your opponent's board, and you can play him in rest mode with 1 marker on it. So really, turn 1 or turn 2, I can just play this out, still have my energy open, and then +2 him every turn. His +2 does 2
You got
nice
him up
things.
to what, like 6 or 7?
Yeah, I got him up to 7 because opponent's not really going to swing at it. They don't. It's kind of like Zeno. Like, you can swing into it, but you're going to have to dedicate so many swings that most opponents just let it go. So his +2 does 2 things. It can give opponent or the leader +5k, which is clutch because on the backside, like I said, it's a pretty aggressive strategy. It makes the leader a 20k attack, and on the front, it can make it a 15k attack, which basically ignores if your opponent awaken. So he does +2, which gives the leader a 5k boost, but in addition to that, it makes it so your opponent cannot attack with the clone card or the clone tokens. Usually when they attack with the clone tokens, it's a neg anyways, because those tokens don't have combo power and they're only 10k by the time I'm awakened.
Oh, wow.
They have to combo in to really do any damage. But this just makes it
You
so
don't
that...
want to, you were just spending cards at that point.
Exactly, yeah. But this just makes it so like you don't have to worry about them swinging with it, because sometimes, you know, if you're playing a deck that can produce a really big hand, you don't want them having more bodies to swing with. His -4 also comes in clutch. So his -4 is he can do an activate battle.
Oh, wow.
And he gets +11k double strike. That makes him a 25k attack. What I like to do sometimes is swing with the unison first if I'm not playing against a yellow deck that can Zabasu me. Because you can swing, if they don't negate, then you boost up because it's activate battle. So you don't really have to invest into the -4 until you know the attack went through. Then the other one is, the other one's Trunks because...
Parasite Trunks.
Yeah, Parasite Trunks. It draws, it's amazing. The -5 lets you use the ape counter effect without paying your energy. So you would just ditch 2 cards. So really, you know, you could go to a 3-3 split, and I think I might at some point, just because tapping no energy for a unison is better than tapping 3. But, you know, the draw power is, you gotta respect it. And plus, it's another one where you +2 markers each time, which just makes it hard for your opponent to dedicate to getting rid of it, yeah. And plus, it, you know, both of the unisons help keep my 3 of Trunks counterplay alive. And then here's the core engine of the deck. And this is where it's, like, actually a little bit spicy. So, the first card is a TP. The TP costs, like, 20 cents, so you can buy it pretty easily. So with yeah, now they're pretty cheap now. What the auto effect does is when you combo with the card, if your leader's an Android 18, which obviously it is, you can pop one of the clone tokens on your opponent's battle area, the ones you're producing.
Okay.
And when you do, you can add a Krillin from your deck to your hand. So that's why I run 4 of these Krillins. So basically when you combo, you're plussing because you get, or at least breaking even because you're getting a card to your hand. And then the other effect she has is you can play a blue energy to play her from your hand, or from the drop area after the combo. So you combo with her, ditch one of your opponent's clone tokens, get Krill into your hand, and then you pay a blue energy to play her anyway. Which she's a 15k attack. She doesn't come into play in rest mode, which is nice, because then you could potentially combo with it again, or, you know, just not have your opponent swing at it. The Krillin. So the Krillin is kind of like a double-edged sword. It's a great card in Android 18 offensively because it can give your leader double strike. But what it can't do is it's a 1-cost combo. So defensively, it's a 1-cost 5k combo. So sometimes it can get a little bit breaky. But typically what you want to do is on your turn, you swing with your leader, which is already getting presumably a 5k boost. And now you combo with this card for free. And now you gave it double strike. And then it has an additional ability where you can tap a blue energy to play him, and he himself is a blocker. So again, you're doing aggro while also getting a little bit of defense. And then, you know, all of that for 1 energy is just a value play. And all of these cards, they are focused on eliminating your own tokens, your own clone tokens, which is why it's important. Yeah. Exactly, which is why the field card's important, because it lets these cards have value. So typically, you know, I run 4 of the 18 and then 4 of the Krillins. Sometimes what I do is if I have too many Krillins in my hand, that's where the super combo comes in. I bottom deck one of them, and then the next time I combo with an 18, then, you know, I'll be able to keep on cycling.
Cycle him out.
So that's kind of like the aggro package. The other reason this card specifically is important is because the field card it affects both players. So the first battle card either player would play
You can't even swing.
can't attack. So her playing her defensively is great because then I have a 15k body. And again, against a lot of decks, they can't play around the field card the way I can play around the field card. So it puts them in a really
You
disadvantageous
put them on a
position.
lock.
Exactly, yeah, you can put them on lock while now they have to keep on dealing with my 15k bodies, which, you know, it's not broken, but 15k is 15k.
30K.
Then the other great card, that this one's from the Evolution Booster, is a counterplay Android 18. So she is a one-costed counterplay if you have a Unison card in play. So either one of
Most
these...
likely you're going to have a Unison out
Yeah,
anyway.
presumably you'll have a Unison, either the 13 or the Trunks. And if your leader is an Android card. So you can't play this in Soul Striker, but you can at least play it in Android 18 leader. So what she does is if your opponent plays a battle card cost 4 or less, it goes to the bottom of their deck. And 4 hits a lot, right? 4 hits the Broly chain, 4 hits a lot of different cards that Frieza can play, so you know, it's a lot. And then on top of that, she herself is a 15k and a blocker. So even if you're not using her for defensive purposes, you can sometimes counterplay on, let's say, a Topo offensively. Well, actually, no. So you can't do it on your own turn, but you know, sometimes it still does come up. You might even be willing to tap 4 to counterplay a Topo. Probably don't recommend it, but having the option is there. But yeah, she's a good defensive card, and plus she's a blocker, so not only are you bottom decking a card, but if they have a card that's going to continue to swing, you can defend it. And that's an easy 4-of. Then there's this guy. He's a really weird card. He only needs to be a 2-of. And the reason is he can kind of recycle from the drop area. So what Android 16 does is every time your field card would play a clone token in their battle area, Android 16 doubles it, right? So if you would play if you would play 2 tokens, yeah, you force them to play an additional 2 tokens. So that can come in helpful in that sometimes, you know, if you're resolving a lot of these skills, you want to have a lot of opponents' clone tokens, because sometimes if you tear through all the clone tokens, then you know you have nothing to resolve your effects. The other thing it does is it makes it so your opponent can't attack with the clone tokens. So if by chance I don't see the 13 Unison, I still know that they're not going to be able to really do anything with the tokens except add them up. And then the other neat thing about this, and people don't always notice, is even if, let's say, opponent removes it from play because it doesn't have any protection, all I need to do is remove one of my opponent's tokens and I replay him from my drop area.
Oh, wow.
Easy as that. As long as I don't have one in play because it has unique. So sometimes opponents invest into trying to get rid of it, and I can just be like, okay, that's fantastic, go for it, and then just replay it again. That's where it's only 2. Yeah, there's no need for one. Then the rest of these, this is the last one that works more with the leader, is 3 Infernal Polini Cell. Yeah, so they're good defense, but specifically they're good because offensively, again, the leader reduces the combo cost of blue and green battle cards in your hand during your turn. So that means that you can combo these for free, effectively a mini super combo. Sometimes they're good defensively too. Between this and a Senzu Bean, you can do a lot to survive, but really it's for when you're going for game, just slamming them down.
I killed him on my turn 2.
Then the next part, Bergamo. So Bergamo is probably like my dumbest blue tech. So I run 4 of these because I think the card is just too much value. You basically play it, you draw a card, so it's a cantrip. But in addition to that, he gets plus 2k for every energy you have and every energy your opponent has. So they add up really quickly.
From both sides, huh?
Yeah. So like if you're both at 4 energy, which it's a blue deck, so you know games typically go up to there. Then you're looking at a 20k for 1 energy. The other part that makes them good is because of your field card, sometimes you need to tap that 1 energy so that you can kind of, you know, gas out the field effect and then continue onward with, you know, more swings. So really he's just there to draw, replace himself, and if opponent doesn't deal with him, then later on he's just a 20k swing that's busted. Yeah. Then the defensive cards. I played 2 of the Chilled Army's Reinforcement. These are great in the deck because, like, I said, you know, you're gonna self-awaken, so you'll be down at the 5 that you need, and this is basically 2 negates in 1. There are some decks that don't care about the blocker, but in most cases I can just get rid of 2 attacks for, you know, 0 energy, or even just tapping 2 sometimes is worth the trouble.
Then what's it, permanent?
Yeah, the permanent is if my life is 5 or less, I can activate it by taking a life rather than paying energy.
Okay.
So, you know, you don't want to do it too much, but in a clutch situation, it can definitely get you out of a turn. Especially since, again, going back to the field card, most of the decks you're playing against can only produce so many attacks. So having a negate that gets rid of 2 for 1 card in hand is just value. Because really with this deck, it's hard to take you out early. So as long as you can live with a large hand size, you can clap back really easily because of all the Krillins.
All the Krillins.
Then the other cards, 4 Senzu Beans, that's automatic. Like, there's no...
If you play blue, you got...
Yeah, if you play blue, yeah, you have to play 4 Senzu Beans. I think maybe SS3 can get away with less, but aside from that deck, you should be playing 4. It's just too good, offensive and defensive. And then 4 D-Magics.
More sensitive.
Yeah, it's like more Senzu Beans, yeah. And this is where you can get into some value, because sometimes I'll pass with only 1 energy open, then I'll D-Magic to open up space for a Cell, or maybe open up space even to tap 2 for the blocker, which usually people don't expect you to tap 2 for the blocker, they expect you to just take the life, but if you're trying to play the long game, then the more life you have, the better. That's just how the game works. And then the last card is just 2 copies of the UI Kamehameha. Similar concept to the Cell. It's a great offensive card. You do have to pay the energy for it, but 15k when I'm going for turn with a double strike, you know, that's worth it. Or even defensively, sometimes your opponent combos up exactly to make you try to combo 2 cards at 15. This card gets around it perfectly. So 15 is just a good number here. But yeah, the basic premise of the deck is just trying to accrue value over time, get as many swings in as you can, get value out of your defense. So when you're comboing out with a 5k attack, getting out a 18 that not only replaces itself by giving you a Krillin, but also gives you a 15k body on board to then swing with. That's the gist of the deck. You can go
sounds rough to play against sometimes. I know some people are flustered on it.
Exactly, yeah, like poor Xavier's all flustered about it, but and he was playing Red Broly, so he was playing a deck that can get around this, but the basic idea is just go aggro, it's nice and thematic, and it's a waifu set.
Nice. Alright, Francisco, thank you for the deck.
Thank you.